Hi, my name's Kalika Kanitkar. I was in MLM for over 7 years, 5 of which I went all in. I worked hard, followed the system, and went to every single training. I did everything that my mentors told me to because I had genuinely believed I had found a way to create a career, a full-time income, and help others do the same. After years of being coached that this would work for me if I kept going, kept showing up to events, and didn't quit, the company declared bankruptcy. They had mismanaged money, failed to pay travel vendors, stopped paying reps, and outright lied to us about the dire reality of the company's financial situation, illegal international operations, and lawsuits. The reps were merged into another company and given little to no warning. I was disgusted by the way everything was handled, and I had started noticing some red flags, but it took me almost 2 more years to get out completely. This process takes so long because it's deconstruction work, peeling back layers of deception before you realize the foundation of everything that you were taught to believe is a lie. I started creating consumer awareness content on social media a few months later. I'm not an influencer. I don't have a large following and I don't monetize my content. About 2 months ago, my Instagram was targeted along with 4 other accounts of whistleblowers through intentional misuse of Instagram's reporting system. I permanently lost my personal page and was shown firsthand what extent MLMers would go to silence those who are raising awareness about the dangers of participating in this cultic fraud. Since I started openly criticizing MLM, I have been verbally attacked, shunned, and attempted to be silenced. And I am just one of many. Most people are wary about speaking out against MLM because of the pushback. Those who threaten their narrative have been sued, harassed, and censored in the past. The entire multi-level marketing racket, including its self-regulatory body and its lobbying group, work together to operate a long con that defraud the reps who buy into the promise of an income opportunity. Every MLM fails the cost-got pyramid scheme test, but somehow they continue to spawn and continue to prey on new recruits. The question of how this very clear endless chain recruiting scam is able to continue leads us to take a look at the coercive methods of control used to exert undue influence, not only over prospects, deployable reps, and leaders, but also over everybody on the outside, from the skeptical family member to the FTC. They are desperately trying to maintain the narrative that MLM is the epitome of the American dream, and for the last about 40 years, they've been successful. Through the control of information, it has been accepted as a legitimate business opportunity, a supplemental income, and an honest way for a hardworking person to get ahead, even though that couldn't be further from the truth. Almost all reps across all MLM companies spend more money than they make, but this fact is completely disregarded and intentionally ignored. The depth of deception that's allowed to continue is what I'd like to shed light on today. Through various forms of information control, propaganda, and indoctrination, multi-level marketing systematically withholds and distorts information and redefines key terms. The first big lie is that the endless chain proposition is sustainable. The abysmal loss rates are explained away as a misrepresentation, though the stats come from the companies themselves. Prospects are given the least amount of information to get them to a buying decision. Information is deliberately omitted and twisted to the extent that top promoters of companies that have been shut down as pyramid schemes go on to run new MLMs, continuing the same exact predatory practices. Recruits are none the wiser. They sign up and are told that they're business owners. Members are told not to search for information online, not to listen to critics or any anti-MLM content. They're also told not to consult others before making a buying decision. They only consume information about the company from the company itself. Reps at each rank are given just enough information to perform. Often, the version of the truth about the organization that the lower ranks have access to is a watered-down, more palatable story than the truth that the inner circle knows. Members are also dissuaded from speaking to ex-members and critics, and discouragement or doubt should only be shared with the superior. They are told not to tell their friends and family anything until they can show them everything. This is meant to control the method, style, and environment of the exposure of the group, often with members of leadership in control. The network of a rep is shown an intentionally crafted image of the group. Reps are trained to fabricate a testimonial story, a job description, and an elevator pitch, without revealing that the ultimate goal is to create a downline chain of recruits that never ends. This endless chain is what promises to yield bonus checks indefinitely, claiming to create financial freedom for anyone who chooses to work for it. However, if reps directly stated this, the gaps in logic and the predatory behavior inherently required would be clearly visible to those outside of the group. Instead, they disguise the recruiting scheme, calling it a side hustle, claiming to have quality products with incredible benefits, and claiming to be an honest way to earn income. This verbiage has been so widely accepted that even those who can tell there's something destructive and controlling about these groups have trouble pinpointing and confronting the problems. It's very difficult for anyone to understand what's actually occurring on the inside, and it's impossible to give informed consent when information is being so distorted. The outside world is confused through the use of doublespeak, conflating the language of the scam to the language of business. Even in legal proceedings and to the highest level of government, terms like business model, industry, direct sales, and retail have been redefined by the companies under scrutiny themselves without any due diligence being done as to the validity of those claims. They are allowed to continue to operate and self-regulate with no accountability for the losses incurred or regard to the actual viability in the marketplace. We are all susceptible to allowing the further legitimization of MLM through negligence and inaction. MLM companies and reps intentionally try to feign credibility by co-opting the language of experts, borrowing or faking credentials or education, and rubbing elbows with influential people, preying on our biases to lie without being held accountable. Regulators, news media, prosecutors, and the general public need to be aware of these control and deception tactics so they can notice them quickly and act to protect themselves and others. Definitive language around identifying these fraudulent companies and the methods of coercion used to lure people into these destructive commercial cults must be used, as they are distinct in structure and execution. And ideally, the conversation around this topic will create such clarity that those who propagate multi-level marketing will be held responsible for the damage that they cause criminally and not just civilly. Thank you.